Welcome to Shardcast, the Brandon Sanderson podcast. We're a bunch of mega fans giving you the news, discussion, and of course, a whole lot of opinions about Brandon's works and the Cosmere. I'm Eric, and joining me is Danielle.
Hi, Bell Candy.
Hello. Also joining us is Evgeny.
Hi, I am known across the non-Cosmere multiverse of Brandon Sanderson as Argent, and
Spoilers.
no, not spoilers, just Argent. Argent spoilers is a different variant of me. He exists in the Marvel, in the MCU.
Yes. This is all our cast members today. We're going to talk about Secret Project 2 today. As the title says, this is the non-Cosmere one, so I expect the viewership on this one to be significantly less, especially because this is coming out quite a few weeks after Secret Project 2. But you know what? We want to wait to record these until after the stream in case Brandon says things, because that's what happened in Secret Project 1. So it's just going to take a while. So by the time you hear this, you'll probably be talking about Secret Project 4 and being very excited about it. So, yeah. But we're going to talk about Secret Project 2 today. We'll get to Secret Project 4 in April. Don't worry. Don't you worry.
We'll try.
Yep. So before we get into Secret Project 2 itself, let's start talking about the news, because I think this will be the last episode before the Kickstarter ends, just with the way the scheduling works, really, because it ends at the end of March, and this will be next weekend our time, so like the 27th, right?
26th, 27th.
Yeah. Brandon's probably blabbed about more news since then, but, you know, we're talking about Secret Project 2 in that stream. So Brandon's been doing these thank you milestones rather than stretch goals because they have a lot of money, and so with greater money, they can spend it on greater things. That's what Uncle Ben says.
That is...
Why are we so loopy today?
Well, because we need to pad the episode, because the actual episode's going to be like 10 minutes.
No, I'm not deliberately trying to pad it. I just feel very goofy. We're so tired, guys. We're really tired. So, the first of those is in Secret Project 1's box. There is going to be a wide epic bookmark, and it's going to have the Hoid art that is on the Kickstarter page. So, cool.
And that's by Dan, right?
No, that's by Steve Argyle, I think, right?
Hoid is by Howard Lyon.
We are all wrong.
One of them.
One of them are the Stipes.
Yeah, that's right. So It is Howard.
So I wanna confirm something because it wasn't super clear to me.
Okay, what's up?
So this will not be in one of the swag boxes. This will be in the, like, if you purchase the physical edition of Secret Project 1, you get a box, and this is going to be in that box.
It is going to be in that box. Brandon said it was Secret Project 1's box, not the Hoid swag box. Though, later in the stream, Brandon did say that there is going to be a cool thing in the Hoid swag box, which is going to have a gold sticker with like the Hoid image from the chapter arches and Way of Kings, and it's gonna say contains pure nonsense or something like that. And so you can stick it on things. But Brandon was sure to say, stick it on things with consent. So don't go to a bookstore, just stick it on other books. Don't do that.
Well, or I think he was referring to people when he mentioned consent. But if that is not the case, so if
that too, for sure, but
I mean, like,
don't deface books at bookstores is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. But also don't deface people anywhere.
Yeah, they need those.
Yeah. Unless you replace their face with Hoid's, then they still have a face.
That's true. Then the other big thank you milestone is that there's no custom charges for international shipping. Basically, they're prepaying all the duties and customs, which can be pretty big depending on where things go. So, I mean, that's at least something. And so I'm glad they're doing that because clearly they know that the international shipping is ludicrous. And they're well aware, and so they're like, what can we do? Anything. So paying those is good, so you're not charged even more, off the value of these things.
Hopefully by the time the Words of Radiance Leatherbound Kickstarter rolls around, they will have figured out a way to print things and ship things internationally, so
that
you
sounds
don't have
so
to
logistically
run out of,
challenging.
It does, yeah.
I'm glad I'm not figuring that out. That sounds like a lot of work. We're just putting out videos. I teach people math. And Brandon also said regarding the bookmark that there's going to be some art bundle thing for digital reward backers. So because he wants to, give something back to those people as well. So it's not all just physical stuff.
Could you clarify for me? Because I'm not quite sure. So if you only get the physical reward bundle or whatever, are you getting a swag box with each one of those books as well?
Yes.
Or is
the book comes in a swag box. I don't think there's going to be much swag in the book box because it's primarily the book, but there might be some other things like the bookmark. So I wouldn't expect much.
So then if you get the additional, the swag bundle, then you're getting what?
Additional boxes.
But
like 8 other boxes.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Not 12. Okay.
The swag boxes are for the off months when you don't get a book.
Got it.
Yeah. Last thing on news was, I don't know how much there is to talk about, but Brandon posted a really long FAQ article to the degree that he needed to make a summary of the FAQ, and he posted that to Reddit.
FAQs about the FAQ. Also, I'm taking the mic. Brandon?
Yes.
I know. We have a connection. Okay, you were hearing my words in your head right now.
Capital C.
You are obviously a subscriber of this channel.
That I don't. Brandon definitely doesn't have time to watch these episodes. That's for sure.
And you have time to dedicate 2 hours, even though your hourly rate is more expensive than my house.
That's probably true. Yeah.
It is called FAQ. It is not called. FAQ? He says FAQ.
Oh no. No, I don't like that at all. Get out of here.
Well, that's probably from when you talked about game facts.
I said game FAQ. I'll just say, I'll just put that out there. I feel like I'm done with the show. Bye, guys. No, just kidding. But that's FAQ. Oh man.
If you, just Brandon, just don't do that. Like the thing that you're doing, just don't.
I like the part that you kind of were freezing as you were doing all that, so that really added to the experience. Anyway, let's talk about what's in the FAQ. Brandon basically has been trying to push publishers to have more price points and more things in bookstores, and that is one of the reasons he's doing the Kickstarter. He makes a great argument that, hey, if you have more price points and things, like you have a better than $30 hardcover with some swag, and it comes with a digital edition. I don't know. Brandon's a smart dude. I think he has some good ideas, and he's dishing on publishers a little bit. It's they're a little backward thinking. He still likes the publishers, but he wanted to prove some things to the publishers and stick it to Amazon a little bit as well, so that if Amazon goes under, then he'll be okay. So I encourage you to read the long thing. Brandon did say that he's working on Stormlight 5 now, so that's cool. He finished his Lost Metal revision for Wax and Wayne, which is still coming out in November, before our year of Sanderson of a lot of stuff. You know what's really funny? What's that? So at the time of the last update relative to this recording, yes, Stormlight 5 was at 2.5%, yes. I think I want to say. Which is 10,000 words in his projected thing, which means that for a Stormlight book, less than 10% of the book qualifies as a novel.
Yes.
50,000. If we're going by 50,000 words. Yeah. They are technically 10 novels in a trench coat.
It just blows my mind, everyone, that we get Stormlight books about as frequently as these graphic novels that Brandon gets. Like, I just want to put that perspective. Admittedly, graphic novels, like, art is very time intensive, so that I'm not trying to dish on graphic novels there, but I'm just saying we have a lot of words to read in the Brandon Sanderson fandom, and we get them very regularly. And Brandon doesn't take breaks from writing. He takes breaks from writing a specific thing. And then he writes other things, sometimes for specific things. Yeah. So just know, because I know there's some people like, why is Brandon writing non-Cosmere? It's just so he can stay fresh and like do different things that are cool and make him feel excited. So he's excited to go into these enormous, hellishly long slogs of Stormlight books that are twice the length of a book, and as Brandon's been saying, exponentially more complicated to like plot and things. Yeah. Like, God, yeah, do something fun like Secret Project 2 that's just like, oh, it's a new character and doing fun things, woo, fun, and just to as a palate cleanser before going back to like, how are all these 40 character arcs gonna go in Stormlight 5? Like, whoo, I do not envy Brandon for that one, because that's
his team.
Point. Or his team, well, especially considering how many more additional books they need to produce. So, great. Well, with that money, they can hire more people, I guess. Maybe, probably. So let's get on to talking about something fun, Secret Project 2. And it is called The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England. Not The Frugal Wizard's Guide, which Brandon wrote there and I think was on the video, but it is Handbook. Yeah, so this is the Gun Wizard thing, and
Gun Wizard.
Danielle, since you're so pro, you do our preview show, which you should definitely watch some of the previews if you haven't seen. Chapter 1 and 2 of Lost Metal was read, and they did an episode on it. We didn't do it on Mainline Chartcast. Links below. Link will actually be up here. Up in the upper right of the screen. I'll put a card. You can click it. And it's pretty spicy. It's pretty good. But why don't you give us a summary of what happened in this, which we totally didn't do for Secret Project 1, but we probably should have.
Sure, I will. I've been prepared. So,
great. The most prepared of us.
He read 6 chapters for us. So that was really nice. So in chapter 1. I'll just go chapter by chapter.
Yeah, sure.
So the main character wakes up in a field and he has no memory of his past. And he's in this perfectly circular patch of burned ground wearing like period clothing, and he's wearing blue jeans. And he finds a page of a book and it has a title on it. It's called The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England. And this is by Cecil G. Bagsworth III.
I love it.
And this book, he finds another page, and he doesn't find the whole book, but he's just finding pages. And he sees another one, and it's describing some kind of a travel package. As he's kind of reorienting himself because he doesn't have his memory, some people come by and he hides, and they find this burned patch of field, and they start talking, and they're using strange terms that he's not familiar with, like lands white, and they're saying Logna's flames and things. So our main character decides that to find out more about his past, he has to go and find the missing pages of the guide. Enter chapter 2. He continues on to this village, and he's trying to avoid interacting with the peasants. We have Eelstan, Orange Cloak, and we have Hild. And he is realizing that he's having memories of things coming back to him that are much more advanced than the world he's in. And so he continues on. He sees an altar with another page that he wants to grab, so he steals it. And on this page, he discovers that he's in a new dimension that he owns. In chapter 3, he decides, or he's trying to figure out how he's going to approach the villagers, because he doesn't have a way to prove that he owns this dimension or that they're even in an alternate dimension. So he overhears them talking, and he realizes that they're searching for him. And he ends up turning around and being found by a young man and a woman, and they attack him. He goes to block it with his forearms, and they're impenetrable. And then all of a sudden he's hit with this memory of like panic. And then in chapter 4, he awakens.
And shame is
shame.
Really interesting.
There is shame. In chapter 4, he awakens from this blackout and he's upside down. And the woman, who is called a Scop, she refers to him as an Eleave. I don't know how to pronounce it, but neither does he.
Nope.
And she starts saying these incantations that she calls boasts, and they're supposed to subdue him somehow.
He's just like, I'm just up here. What's up?
Yeah, he's just hanging upside down, and they're referring to him as being some kind of a mystical being. The young man, whose name is Worm, and Eelston, and they refer to him as Little Father. They leave, and then she goes up to him, and she's like, I know who you really are, or what you really are. Chapter 5. She thinks he's a scam artist. She's trying to get him to move on to another town. So he, in trying to figure out how to survive in this world, he's trying to roll with it, and he realizes from his memories that are slowly coming back that he's a good liar. The woman, whose name is Cephawin,
yes,
she continues talking to him, and then all of a sudden he gets another memory, a very strong memory of a woman named Jen, who belongs to someone in his memory who has died. So chapter 6, the story starts to take on a darker tone. He's remembering pain from losing this Jen, and he realizes that this alternate dimension was kind of her dream, and now he's there by himself. He tries to keep Cephawin talking so that he can kind of glean more information out of her, and they leave this kind of barn or building that he was being held, and he overhears a man named, Ulrich, and he recognizes him as someone who wants him dead, and that's about where the story ends.
Yeah, so Brandon was talking about how he wanted to do something where, the main character has amnesia, like a classic, just one of the classic tropes. And so a Jason Bourne style thing, it's like, I don't know who I am. And when Brandon read Project Hail Mary, he was like, oh yeah, I haven't done that. I should do that. And so that was part of his inspiration. Coincidentally, my wife, Jess, was reading Project Hail Mary, and so she felt they were way too similar, and so she didn't really like this, but that was only because she was literally reading Project Hail Mary. Yeah, what a neat premise. I like the interdimensional travel because, and this is by Brandon's design, so that he doesn't have to have history super accurate. He can just be like, well, it's not actually medieval England. It's just it's a dimension where they speak modern English, and it's kind of like medieval England.
Right. So I want to talk about the premise of dimensions, because there's a couple of really interesting things going on here that I'm looking forward to finding out more about.
Yeah.
And so the overarching world that the story takes place in, the world where our protagonist comes from, appears to be late 21st, maybe 22nd century. There was a thing in there that had the year 2080s, I think, when
2084,
when they opened up dimensions to kind of the general public, I think.
Well, that was later. It was discovered in 2084 and then recently deregulated, but after then, right?
Okay, so we are looking at probably a near future sci-fi framing story, so to speak, although it's not a framing story. And so they discover essentially a multiverse of dimensions, presumably an infinite number. And what I find really interesting is that where's the Nebraska thing?
Oh, that was really funny. The Nebraska thing. So the Frugal Wizard trademark handbook says a helpful method of visualizing this is to think of Nebraska. Nebraska is a landlocked state in the center of the United States. But its general lack of importance and its distance from trendy population centers, it generally lags between the coasts a few years in fashion, music, and distribution of collectible card games. I feel that's definitely some shade because Brandon lived in Nebraska for a long time, you know. You might feel like you've time traveled when visiting Nebraska, but careful scientific experiments using synchronized timepieces have proven no time dilation is in effect. As Nebraska is a few years behind everyone else, your personal dimension, trademark, is behind the true world by a half millennium or so. You have essentially just purchased your very own unique Super Nebraska trademark.
It's great.
I love the handbook, by the way. I think it's very funny.
So, and I think another way to think of it, and the way I've been thinking about it, is divergent timelines. Yeah. So in our timeline, let's say year 0 proceeds straight through the way we recognize it. And in a different timeline from year 0 to, let's say, 500, it's the same stuff. But from 500 on, something happens, the timeline diverges, and now things just happen much more slowly, right? We don't make some interesting discovery. And so 2,000 years have still passed in that other dimension, but technologically and culturally and stuff like that, they are similar to where we were, essentially a millennia ago. Yeah. So that opens up a lot of interesting possibilities, right? Because depending on where the timelines diverge and what discoveries are or aren't made, you can have dimensions where things are just slower, right? Or you can have dimensions where a critical or an important discovery from our timeline happens out of order relative to other important discoveries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have something like year 500 AD, people were wearing Victorian dresses or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
But they haven't gone up to the Victorian era of technology and culture.
Yeah. And Brandon was saying on the stream about it that part of the premise is, well, you're not actually a wizard. You're just from the future with high tech. And if you purchase the expensive packages, then he's like, oh, you can have this super advanced fortress with medical staff and a nuclear reactor and things. And he's like, well, you know, that's kind of horrifying, but we're and it is definitely horrifying in a way to just like treat these people who have living in this dimension as just like, you are just puny mortals compared with my deific, godlike, or wizardly powers, you know?
Knowledge of science.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting because in this dimension that he finds himself in, it seems like there's magic and creatures and things that are not found in like what we know as Earth. So
yeah, because there was like some fruit that went away, right? And he was like, ooh, that's kind of weird. And someone did ask on the stream as well that it's like, is there magic? And Brandon's like, you should be thinking about that, Raffo. It's in the book. So
if it's supposed to be an alternate timeline, where did this like magic come from, or you know, the invisible creatures and things?
Wasn't there a bit somewhere about how even the laws of physics might be...
The laws of physics can be just fundamentally different in different dimensions. Yeah. So like it's not just time things. Like I'm sure in various dimensions, all sorts of weird crap can be different. So I don't have an issue with there being magic. Definitely seems like the premise of dimensions is like, well, lots of things can happen, so we can have a fun story.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that Brandon was saying on stream is that theoretically, now the chance is very, very small, but theoretically you can have a dimension that is identical to the Cosmere.
He said it wasn't the Cosmere. It's not the actual Cosmere, but
different sets of multiverses or whatever, but functionally it could be.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's a cool premise, and I found it was very interesting reading, and like reading this person be like, am I in a theme park? What the hell is this? And just realizing that it's something else. Like it's like a fun sort of Jason Bourne thing, you know?
my favorite line, the one that really hooked me.
Yes.
Oh, hell, am I a cosplayer?
That's pretty funny.
I cracked up laughing.
And like, especially when he knows nothing else and is like, why do I know what a cosplayer is?
Or a ninja.
Or a ninja. Yeah. Oh, man. It was really funny.
So before we move on to whatever it is that we're going to talk about next, one thing that I noticed is that the premise is in some ways very similar to another story of Brandon, and that is Perfect State.
Yeah.
That is another story where people, brains in jars, really.
Close enough.
most of the people are like end up with their own personalized and custom worlds, where in a lot of them they kind of end up lording over or ruling over this world. Now, obviously, the big difference is in Perfect State, these are all virtual realities
and created that way.
And created that way. And
these
so
are conquered.
these are actual real people whose lives you end up controlling or influencing or whatever. So the ethical implications are a little bit different in this one. And Brandon is completely aware of that. He talked about it on stream. He talks about it in the commentary section of the preview chapters, where he's like, well, yeah, this can get a little dark. And so that is one of the reasons the Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England, the in-world text, is meant to be more satirical, lighter in nature, to kind of take away from that. Oh, you just purchased your own world full of people.
Yeah.
One thing I really liked about what Brandon was saying when he was discussing that, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but he said, like, science fiction and fantasy is for exploring the impossible and investigating how we feel about it. So he's kind of writing this book as a way of exploring, like, this culture of conquering worlds with no real ramifications because it's not your own dimension.
Yeah. It's definitely a sort of portal fantasy type thing. And part of his inspirations was the time travel disaster tourism thing. And this sort of fused with time traveling Jason Bourne type thing. Apparently, one of Brandon's initial ideas was having someone go back in time to save the Titanic, but then someone else was also a time traveler who was trying to stop that person. So it's like, that sounds like an interesting story, but Brandon's like, yeah, I don't know about the Titanic really well, so I can't do that. Especially because if he was spending so much time getting the historical accuracy right, then it's not a fun side project. Like, that level of continuity he's saving for Stormlight.
Yeah. I would actually recommend the Intentionally Blank episode. That's Brandon and Dan's podcast. Episode number 18 is the one where they talk about this. I've listened to this. I listened to this when it came out. It's a really fascinating and interesting, just Brandon and Dan going back and forth with ideas and spitballing story hooks and stuff like that. So really, really interesting. And they talk about the Titanic stuff in there.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah. Intentionally Blake's a lot of fun, just having them chat, because they're very fun to hear about. What did you guys think of the main character? What did you guys think of that, the character voice?
So when I first saw the covers of the 4 secret projects, I thought that this book was going to be young adult and silly. And because you see this character with like a wizard's hat and a gun, and it looks kind of like sci-fi.
Good wizard.
So when I went into reading it, I was a little anxious because I kind of wanted something that was more like a serious tone. And then I hear about Cecil Bagsworth and and then the main character using all these funny jokes about like star ratings and things. And as I continued reading and it got into the later chapters that he read, 5 and 6, they got a lot darker, more serious in tone. So it'll be kind of an interesting way to hear about this kind of almost a silly personality, but dealing with very serious themes.
think it's a good dichotomy. I don't know how much I like the star reviews though. Like the first one was good. I'm like, is this gonna be a thing? This is a thing. I'm like,
The first one I thought was just a callback to meme culture because we could all, kind of appreciate that. Yeah. But then he started doing it over and over, and I'm kind of hoping it doesn't continue too much.
Maybe it'll grow on me. But like the third one, I'm like,
I think it will continue.
Seems like David's bad metaphors, like in Steelheart, like that sort of character.
It's a character thing. Yep, it's exactly that. I hope it gets. So I don't hate it, but I do hope it gets better. So like once he started doing the ratings in parentheticals, I thought that worked better because it's no longer active stream of consciousness thing. It's the things that are happening in the story, and also in the back of my head, 3 out of 5 because blah blah blah.
Like it will be funny to like have him rate like fight scenes and things like that. Like that could be really funny. It's like this person's terrible. 2 out of 5. What?
There's a lot of opportunity for funny inserts with the ratings.
Yeah, so I hope it just like leads to like some really funny jokes. Whereas like I don't know how
I thought it was kind of neat. The main character actually, once he said the first one, he's like, "Oh, what am I, a movie reviewer?"
That's funny.
Maybe it will actually play into what he was before. Like
that would be nice. That would be really nice.
I definitely think it's gonna play into his backstory in some way. Maybe not like a critically important way.
But it will make sense for his character.
It's a thing that like it's part of the history of this character, and obviously with amnesia stories, the history is kind of important.
Yeah. Like that's one of the few things we know about it, and also that like there's things going on with his nanites where like usually people protect the head, but not me for some reason, and that's money. Going somewhere. Well, yeah.
I found so. I guess this is a good segue to talk about into this stuff because it's very related. So the medical nanites and the fact that he very instinctually reaches for a gun.
Yeah.
And that he very instinctually hides and sneaks and like pays attention to the like all of these things give me a strong military vibe.
It's definitely the Jason Bourne vibes that Brandon's going for there, right? Like for sure, right?
Yeah. So this is I don't think that everyone in the year 21 whatever or whatever the year is gonna have medical nanites, or maybe they will, but like his are military grade, right?
Yeah.
Not everyone's gonna have plating on their body, but
yeah.
He does, obviously. Now, yes, there is a reason they are on the arms instead of the chest and the head. So that's going to be an interesting plot point at some point. I'm confident. So, which makes for a really interesting dichotomy because on one hand you have all of the review stuff, and on the other you have all of this either military or military adjacent stuff. So, who is this person? And what is his deal is a really interesting question.
Yeah.
And who's Jen?
Jen's got to be like, if not his wife, like lover, girlfriend type thing, right? Because like clearly she's very important to him, right?
So
partner, right.
So the shame thing happens. So he gets hit. With the plank, with the board, by Cephawin.
Yeah.
By the poet.
Yeah.
And he hears shouts in his memory, flashes of light from a time before,
voices.
And then pain and shame, and so something about the flashing lights, because that specifically repeats a few times. So yeah, that could tie to Jen. Like maybe she died because he couldn't do something, and the scene they were in had like flashing lights or like
maybe like an ambulance or something.
I was gonna go with like in like a war zone or something, you know, like gunfire and stuff is really bright, you know, especially rockets and stuff. So like that's possible as well, but flashing lights is flashes of lights is a sort of a weird way to describe it, but yeah, I could buy that.
Camera flashes.
Oh, camera flashes. And I like that a lot better because like he did something publicly that would make sense with pain and shame. If like you did something bad and people are taking pictures, you'd feel a lot of shame and panic. Like that fits really well. And those angry voices hating me, like I can just totally like see paparazzi or like a mob or something, you know.
I'm wondering the way that he arrives in this dimension, in this circle of burned ground, and the guide or the handbook says that you're supposed to be dropped off at a suitable location, and he obviously wasn't. So I'm wondering if like he's maybe exiled or if he escaped to this dimension.
I was thinking about escape too. Yeah.
Especially because that guy at the end, he wants to kill him. So this isn't exactly safe or like someone's following him, you know. There's definitely some interesting hooks. I don't know where we're going, but like I'm interested. I'm not disinterested.
Yeah.
It is hard for me to be as interested in then Cosmere things where it's like, ooh, the Cosmere connections, like that really helps my enjoyment, obviously.
Yeah. And I think the subject came up recently. I don't know if it was in a public chat or a private one, but we talked about hype and amount of conversation generated around Cosmere secret projects versus this one. And one of the important things decided was that Cosmere ones are so much more interesting and they generate so much more conversation and hype because it is not just a new world and a new story. Yeah. It is also, how does this new world and new story connect to these other 30 worlds and stories that we have? And that blows up the hype meter.
Yeah. One word in Secret Project 3, you know? It's like, ooh, that was a lot of discussion on that one word.
I mean, one word from Secret Project 1 that's not even in the preview chapters.
That's true. Listen to our OAB episode last week. It's very interesting. Yeah, so it's like, this is fun. I will read it eventually. I'm
very, very excited about this. I feel like I really, really like his non-Cosmere books. I'm a big fan. And I'm kind of excited. I think this is it going to be a standalone? It's not going to be like a long series or anything.
Yes.
Yeah, so he didn't say it was connected to some of the other interdimensional stuff, like maybe Apocalypse Guard and Reckoners. He said maybe eventually, but right now it's just its own thing.
But even still, even if it was connected to those, it's not a part of the series. So that's kind of exciting too, because it's really nice to be able to just enjoy one book as its own thing.
That's true. It's nice to have a true standalone, right? That you can like recommend to someone, and like Cosmere does have baggage because it is so big, right?
Yeah. Like an entry point or anything. This would be a good one if someone likes science fiction and you want to get them into Brandon Sanderson. Be like, here's a standalone. You could try it and see what you think. Something like that.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be better than Snapshot.
Hey, I like Snapshot. I don't remember much about it, but definitely the non-Cosmere stuff is less memorable, I will say. But
I feel this is similar to me to like Legion in terms of my interest in the story. I'm kind of on that level.
And what is that level? How are you in Legion?
Good question.
3 out of 5.
Okay. Okay. I think my excitement of this is more than Legion. Legion was just fine. Like I enjoyed it, but I think this has a more interesting hook. It helps that you're like, there is just something about we're right in the middle of something that is and figuring out what it is that's like, yeah, amnesiac characters. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. Especially because there is like a nice dichotomy of like a few different weird things that makes it interesting.
I had just read in January a book by Diana Wynne Jones called Dark Lord of Dirkholm, which has to do with modern world clashing with an alternate kind of dimension. Okay. And so it's very similar in ties to this. So because I have that very fresh in my memory, that actually made me really excited to read something else in that kind of a genre.
Yeah. I mean, I like Brandon experimenting with different things. Like, you don't want all his stories to be the same, right? And so Brandon being like, I'm doing something different. Yeah, the amnesiac main character is pretty tropey, but like doing it well and fun with some Brandon zaniness of dimension world stuff is, it's fun. It's definitely fun.
And he does promise that he is aware of the tropiness of the amnesia thing, and he says that he's doing some unique and interesting things with it.
Well, I mean, Mistborn played with prophecy.
About that, he mentions that he uses this blank slate character when he DMs games and things. He likes to use it as an entry point so the audience is learning things at the same time that the character is.
Yeah, and it certainly does, because we're learning like, oh, there's medical nanites. Oh, I didn't expect that, right? Things like that. And I also just think the guide is really funny. It's so... It's like, oh, you don't need our expensive packages. It's over the top, and this is like the cheap tier. It's like, we'll dump you in a place. Do you get support? Nah, you don't need those. Here's the guide there.
Well, it's kind of like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
And yeah, Brandon was somewhat going for that, but he wanted the story to actually have some drama. So not just like the entire thing was a joke, right? So I think that's a nice dichotomy. I think it'll turn out pretty okay. Do we have any other thoughts on this itself? Like, because it's not Cosmere, there's not a lot for us to crap on, because it's just like, I mean, that was fun.
I wanna take a moment to talk about kind of the magical or seemingly magical nature of this dimension that we are dropped in. So we don't have much, but there are hints, right? So early on, the ruler of this place, the Thane, Eoston, I believe is his name, and somebody else show up to kind of the landing site, quote unquote, where our protagonist shows up. And they're essentially wondering what's going on, right? Because they see a perfect circle of burned grass on the ground with a human outline of unburned grass in the middle of it. And so they think that it might be a Landswight, which some kind of a ghostly entity, like whites are undead nobles.
Yeah.
The other option that they consider,
Logna's Flames.
Right, Logna's Flames. So I looked up Logna.
What'd you learn?
Because I was wondering who that might be. Because later on, they cite Logna in the same paragraph as they cite Woden, which is a name for Odin, one of the Norse gods. So like, oh, maybe that's another Norse god that I know about it. And I learned that Logna is actually a professional Overwatch streamer.
Great. I don't know if that is intentional.
It's also frazione of the commune in Cascia in the province of Perugia, Umbria, central Italy.
I'm sure you pronounced all of those correctly. Every single one of them.
Put
your angry comments below on how to pronounce what Evgeny just said. Like how I almost said Brandon there.
In the dimension, they mention at the same time that they were looking at this round patch of burned ground, they mentioned like something like a lightning strike from the heavens or something. So it makes me wonder if they've had maybe natural disasters that they attribute to gods, or
I mean, that seems pretty
some
probable.
kind of weird physics thing is going on here.
I would be shocked if there are no fantastical elements in this, especially with Brandon, with like there being some weird creatures and what ate the thing. Like, I expect there to be some things, although it could be an interesting reversal if like some of the weird things are just other interdimensional hoppers and things, right?
Which is one of the things I expect.
Yeah, that's plausible. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's magic as well. Or at least like creatures. I don't think like there's going to be actual magic necessarily.
I was entertained by the assumption that our protagonist is an elf.
Yes, that was really funny.
So I've arrived at the conclusion that I think that's kind of how that thing's supposed to be pronounced, right? Obviously, he mispronounces it several times, and
which
then
was really funny.
At the end,
is it a long A or is it a short A? The standard conversation.
Sepha Wynn tries to correct him, and I think the L and the V are supposed to be smushed together.
Yeah.
And then the opening one is kind of like an A. So, but TLDR, it's an elf, right? This is this dimension's version of an elf. Whether that is a Tolkien-esque elf, which I find unlikely, or whether it's a Nordic type of elf, which I think is the case here. It's a fae creature, right?
Yeah.
And so she tries different things because she's a poet, she's a bard, she's a skald type of character, and like she ties him upside down because mythology says that's how you negate their power. And she recites poems to him because that's apparently also effective. Boasts, right?
Yeah, that's fun.
Well, she travels from village to village, we learn. And so she is a traveling scop who is supposed to, I'm assuming, banish these whites, the land's
spirits,
white,
and things like that. Yeah.
And she does
I think
it
loosening,
with her poetry.
Loosening is what they'll call it,
Loosening and binding.
Yep.
So I don't know if they're trying to say that that's like her magic and she actually accomplishes these things. So.
That well could be magic.
Or if she recognizes he's a scam artist because she's a scam artist.
Oh. I don't think that's the case, but I think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
But I do like her a lot.
She's fun.
She is a really fun character, and I enjoy their dynamic from like page one that they interact.
Yeah, agreed.
He is sarcastic and snarky and tries to be funny, and she's having none of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's all fun. Any other thoughts about Frugal Wizard itself?
I think I touched on everything that I wanted to talk about.
Same?
Yeah, I don't think I've got.
Cool. So, why don't we talk about some words, Brandon, from the last stream as of recording, which was the Secret Project 2 stream that we had. That's the advantage of us having the Secret Project 1 WoB episode be out last week. But there were not that many words, Brandon, that were interesting. But they did talk about the bestseller list. And so as of when they were talking about these, the hardcovers sold 62,000 copies, which Brandon said eclipses all of his like YA first weeks. It doesn't eclipse Stormlight. Interesting to see how Mistborn fits in, but Mistborn's probably not the best comparison just because it's been so long since a Mistborn book. So, and the fandom is a lot smaller.
It's also a weird one because there have been reprints and the success of the different editions has varied up and down.
Yeah. So I found that interesting, but it wouldn't be New York Times bestsellers because that's kind of a weird specific thing, but they're doing well. They're doing really well comparatively. I thought that was kind of interesting to just anytime you get a number, it's like, ooh, we don't usually hear the numbers of the sales and things, just like
tantalizing.
Yeah, it's cool. Brandon said Secret Project 2 was Discovery written. Secret Project 3 and 4 had more intricate plotting and outlining for different reasons. He usually does the thing where he writes the first few chapters and then outlines the thing.
Get the voice down, get the character down.
Yep. And then, there was one word of Brandon that was really spicy. It was really spicy. And so I'm going to go into Wob mode here. So there was a question where on previous States of Sanderson, there was a secret standalone Cosmere novel. And some people thought, ooh, we're so clever. That was clearly Secret Project 1. Whoa. And it was in 2020. And so Simon the Killer Ewok again asked Brandon about that. And Brandon said, no, that's something different. And it's apparently a different project that Peter didn't know about. So, this is a different thing. I'm not sure how much has actually been written on this. Might just be an idea.
Probably outlining.
Probably. But apparently projected at 200 to 3,000 words, set in the future of the Cosmere. And Brandon said it's more beastly and epic than these usual side projects, which, just so you know, 300,000 is shorter than Stormlight, but longer than every Mistborn book. Like, the longest Mistborn book is Well of Ascension at 250,000. So it's, like, longer than Mistborn Era 1, Warbreaker, Elantris. So, like, 200,000 to 300,000 words. He hasn't done one of those in quite a long time. And none of these books are that long either.
And I think The Way of Kings is, like, 350? Or maybe...
No, Way of Kings is 400.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Yes, it 100% is.
You are deceiving me, sir.
No, it totally is. Every Stormlight book is over 400,000 words.
That cannot be true.
No, it's absolutely true. You gonna go to the statistical analysis page?
Damn right I will. 384.
Oh, okay. Well,
eat my ass, Eric.
Shut up.
Consume it.
Shut up. I don't know what you're talking about. Note, I will say, though, that I don't think these contain epigraphs. There are a lot of epigraphs.
Yeah, those big Way of Kings epigraphs. They had the diagram excerpts that don't even have spaces. You realize that the one that doesn't have spaces counts as one word, right?
You know that's Words of Radiance and not Way of Kings, right?
No.
So, just saying.
Anyway, we don't have 12,000 words worth of epigraphs.
Yeah. No, these seem like undercounts from what I remember on the statistical analysis page. So I think there is a bit of methodology onto these statistical analyses, because I know earlier in the fandom, I distinctly remember it often being said that Way of Kings was 400,000 and that Words of Radiance was longer.
Reddit says 383.
Huh. Whatever. Around 400,000 words, Evgeny. Whatever, man. But needless to say,
we're probably looking at like 800 pages, 900 pages, something like that.
It's beefy book, Future Cosmere, and not one of these. So yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Makes me wonder where it needs to be released in the actual Cosmere. Like,
yeah.
I don't know how far out that book was going to be.
And remember, Brandon's typically said that like Nightblood, would be a 6-month write. So like those 200,000 word books. Which is why he hasn't gotten to Nightblood. So when the hell is he going to have time to write this? And like, that's why usually the side projects are shorter, right? Because he can just grind through it.
Because this one's probably going to have to be like 9 months.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, clearly Brandon has more writing time than we expect. So who the hell knows? We'll probably get it sooner than we expect. Lastly, we got a thing where Brandon was saying how Secret Project 1 was based off a prompt that like Emily sort of made. Like he was trying to design it. So what sort of book would Emily like before I met her, and like give her that sort of thing? And Secret Project 3 is more for Emily now, like, and Brandon was trying to get the style so that Emily would really like it. And Secret Project 2 was more just, he just wanted to surprise Emily again, which was just funny. But the spicy one, which you'll already know about because Brandon will already have had posted Secret Project 4's opening, which Secret Project 3's reading is longer, and apparently Secret Project 4's reading is the longest. So
even longer.
Yes.
3 was like hour 15, hour 20, I want to say. So 2 is 55. 3 is hour 30. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And
although there's a little bit of blab, but yeah.
Yeah.
So
at the end of the stream, Brandon's like, "Oh yeah, Secret Project 4 is even longer," and Brandon just said to Karen, "Oh yeah, I'll tell you why after." Just like, "Oh okay, sure." But Secret Project 4 is something the Cosmere needs and has not talked about before. So it is not what many people thought it was, which was Silence Divine. So it is not that. And Brandon said it is loosely based off the first Cosmere story idea that he had.
Now, I could be wrong about this because Brandon is not always consistent in the things that he says in
true.
Streams and in interviews and things like that. But I think I saw somebody say that, oh, isn't this the one where somebody is stuck on a world and is trying to figure out the magic system to get off of the world?
Yeah, Jofu found the WAB from like years ago that was saying that. So, well, by the time this podcast is out, you'll know. You can just go down to the bottom of the inspirations and they'll probably blab about it. So, but anyway, not Silence Divine. It's pretty
nothing
exciting.
We've heard about before.
Nothing, but something the Cosmere needs. Also, I just want to give a quick shout out. Peter and Karen are hilarious, and they were lovely on the stream. But we will be dealing with Secret Project 3. God, it's so hard not to just say the titles, but I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to be really good here. We will have Secret Project 3 next weekend for you.
And that's going to be with WABs or without?
Well, we'll have to see how much Brandon says. Secret Project 1's stream was very interesting and had a lot of words of Brandon. I believe the words of Brandon will probably come out the week after. And then we will do Secret Project 4. And I imagine Brandon will give many other bombshells. And then that will be a WAB episode after. But if there are less and we put them in the same episode, then we will. But they'll probably be split. So it'll be a bit for us to get to Secret Project 4. But rest assured, we're getting to it. But Brandon's just... I didn't expect Brandon would be putting out quite so much.
No,
I cannot wait for us to be done with these Secret Project episodes and then release the Shardcast Beach episode, which is just a filler.
But it's not, though. I mean, no. You know what's happening in May, Evgeny.
No, but I'm doing a bit, Eric.
I know. I'm just saying that there's some things that are coming out from us in May. You'll just have to wait and see. And see, this podcast is going to be just so much less viewed, so you can have all that secret knowledge. Like, whoa, what's going to happen with 17 Shard in May? You'll find out.
You and the other 47 viewers of this episode.
No. I think we'll at least get as much as like the
50
Evershore reactions, probably, maybe. I don't know.
Let's see how Dark One did. I'm putting this on.
I don't think
50% better than Dark One.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think that's a high bar.
Listeners, this is live prediction. So Dark One 1.9, call it 2K.
Well, that's Dark One lore. The Dark One reactions was 2.5K.
Okay, that's 2.5. Okay, so I am claiming that this video, before it tapers off into obscurity,
yes,
will reach 3.8.
Oh, no way. It's gonna be at 2. Evershore reactions was 2K, just so you know. And Cytonic reactions was 3.4K. Is not getting as many views as Cytonic reactions of getting. No way.
Okay, but my money is on the Secret Project hype boosting this one up.
Yeah, but the Secret Project 1 was Cosmere, and it wasn't more than like a regular Cosmere episode.
I have registered my bet.
Okay, well, put your comments below. So if you like it and comment, then the algorithm will boost it, maybe. Really, the algorithm will probably punish it. It's like, less viewers than usual are watching this video, so we're not going to recommend it, which is how YouTube works. But you can still comment below.
Preview people watching us.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you guys think of Frugal Wizard? You guys excited for the new stuff? We will get to newer things pretty soon. Don't you worry. Plenty of Cosmere still to come, but if we didn't do this now, we're never doing this. So we gotta talk about the new stuff, right?
I'm looking forward to us recording a very similar episode just about 1 year from now.
Yes, I will tell you for 2023, I have slotted exactly one episode for the full book of this, and I think that will be sufficient. I think that will be perfectly fine. We're gonna skip Who's That Cosmere Character, but we'll be back. Don't worry, there's plenty more. And if you haven't read Secret Project 3, it's pretty spicy. You should go check it out. And so we'll have more episodes coming to you very soon. So you can come to us on 17shard.com for all your news, discussion, theories, and fun that you could ever want. You can come to our Discord. There's so much chatter on the secret projects on Discord. Not as much this one. I don't know about this one. But the Cosmere ones, like, that channel is absurdly popular. Like it. Like, I made a joke and I got like 10 reactions in like less than 10 seconds. Like, that's how busy it was. When
people were just sitting on that channel ready.
Yeah. So come join for the madness. I hope, you'll just have to see. And if you like our stuff, you can subscribe on YouTube. You can find us on iTunes, and you can support us on Patreon. And I didn't do this in the right order. But whatever.
Nope. There's also Twitter stuff, and there's Instagram stuff. We now have that.
Oh, that's true. That is new. There is actually an Instagram now. Yes.
You can follow us there for art.
Oh, should I put that in the descriptions now? Our link to our Instagram.
Probably.
Yeah. Sorry, I have no issue with us having Instagram. I just don't like Instagram as a platform. But that is a personal issue that I have.
It's okay. Well, neither do we. But
yeah. It's just like, why do you have to log in? Why do you have to log in to view crap? Like, it just doesn't seem like a good experience, and I don't like it.
We gotta play the game.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you in 2025 when our 17shard TikToks, when we have time to do additional content or something, and then no one's gonna care about TikTok at that point. But then we'll be there. We'll be there at that point.
I don't know how the TikTok dances work, but we can have like Cosmere dances.
We just do different Kelsier dances from Fortnite Kelsier. Yeah, that are all copyright infringements. The dances.
Well, you say that, but that presumes that our dancing is going to resemble the Fortnite dance.
That's true. That's a good point. Well, I'm imagining we use the Kelsier Fortnite model, and someone, Paleo probably, to animate it and make it actually look like an actual dance rather than us dancing, which would universally be terrible. It's different.
We'll save that for the beach episode.
Okay, let's get the hell out of here, guys. See you next week for Secret Project 3. What are we doing? Bye.
We're getting out of here.
Caw.